I will talk about digitalization in water monitoring, something similar as Lucas told us. I think that the digital solutions actually are in the same, but here I'm biologist, I'm algologist, freshwater ecologist, and here in this project, I put something new as a biological component. Why? In my area in Bosnia and Herzegovina is area which is very rich in biodiversity, and that is very important to protect endemic, specific, and rare species here. That all of us which are involved in this project have the same interest is the proof, this project. And here in this project, I'm together with my colleagues from IT company, Ericsson Nikola Tesla, Mr. Karlo Gustin, and the other actor is director from one company from my country, company for producing electricity, Mr. Zoran Tabak. And here I would like to tell you that we are aware that how important is integrate approach in the water assessment. And here you can see that we do connection between academia, IT company, and stakeholders. And I think that for protection and sustainability using of our water, all of us have to do the same. I'm sure that this project is just our first step common the future corporation, but also I'm sure that the global waters will help us that we do network on the global international level. But I will later give you information about the digitalization. But before I start with this, I have to inform you about what we do in Bosnia and Herzegovina in general with water quality assessment. Here on the map, you can see that we are one small country in southeastern part of the Europe, and small country, but in view of habitats absolutely different. The northern and central part of my country is different in view of habitats than southern part of country, and water, surface water from the northern in the central part of my country flows to the Black Sea, and waters from this area, from southern part flows to the Adriatic Sea. They are absolutely different in view of that. In this presentation, I will more focusing on water quality assessment from this area, and this area is typically karstic area, which is characterized by limestone and dolostone substrates, and the area with a high level of biodiversity. Small area, but with more than 216 different habitats. And when you are scientists, when you are researchers in water sector, it's not so easy to do water analysis when you have different habitats. You have streams, you have springs, you have a longer river, you have sea from other side, artificial and natural lakes. You need the knowledge, you need the equipments, you need all for every component. It's not so easy to do. Here in country, actually in one part of country, we have two environmental agencies which do monitoring, water monitoring. The one agency is the Sava River Basin Agency, and she does and it does monitoring for northern and central part of country, and but the Adriatic Sea Watershed Agency do that monitoring for just this part in the red, usually for purposes and for needs of the agency for the Adriatic Sea. My colleagues from university and me do water quality assessment, and especially biomonitoring for agency needs. And that is the reason that I'm from university, but I have a lot of information about the situation on the field, because me and my colleagues collected samples, analyzed the samples, do assessment and everything for their needs, because in this moment the agency for watershed here doesn't have own laboratory, but the agency for the Sava has the own laboratory, but in this moment we have very great cooperation with the agency here. What we are doing in the same moment, we collected samples, biological samples from water biotopes, and in the same moment we measured physical and chemical conditions, and also collected samples for chemical nutrients analysis. After results, we do assessment of ecological status for natural states and ecological potential for artificial lakes. All protocol or methodology which we use is according to European Union, actually according to Water Framework Directive. And for assessment of ecological status and for reference conditions for parameters which we follow, we follow local acts as I wrote here on the presentation: Water Act in Federation and Water Management. And what we do assessment of ecological status, and according to European Union, just according to Water Framework Directive, just high and good ecological status or maximal and good potential are acceptable for their aims. Now in this moment, mostly all our water bodies in my regions are in that category, but we have the situation that we have at blooms and some nutrients richness in the water, but we will talk about it later. How looks summary of our result for our agency? You can see on these tables. Just we calculate different indices, assessment ecological status. There are just numbers, and for different indices and for biological and saprobical and trophical status, we use mathematical forms. That is the reason that I was really open when I get project for digitalization. I was open for cooperation because I just would like to do my job simpler. In the moment when there are results for the rivers, here are results for the lakes. As I said, we followed the European Union protocols, but after a lot of experience, after a lot of my results, now I'm in situation that a lot of indices which they recommend us are not applicable for the karstic waters. That is the reason that here in the result for the lakes, we just calculate saprobic index using biological components and calculate trophy index just according to nutrients without biological components, just according to nutrients, because every index which Water Framework Directive recommend us is not applicable, and we have to go toward develop some new indices which will be applicable for karstic water and conditions in karstic water. In the moment when director from company for producing electricity called me and Ericsson that he would like all data which they have put in some platform. I was so surprised but very happy. Why? They company for producing electricity arrange a private laboratory for physical and chemical analysis and nutrient analysis. Very often they arrange us from the university for some biological analysis. And in this situation was great for me, that they would like to do all data in the one, especially when you are in country which are in development, and when you have databases for biological and for chemical and for other conditions in the same. And that this digitalization which we do, which they wanted to do, in that I see a lot of my own interests. And after communication with colleagues from Ericsson and colleagues from Eutrophication, from a company for producing, we get one IT platform. Director from Eutrophication wanted solutions. Ericsson gave them solutions, and I just support with data and involve the people actually experts which have to be there. In this platform they have historical data for selected locations on the Hutovo Blato, where they wanted to do monitoring. But after the first step, we will continue with the second step, that we will include in the platform also biological data. Actually, the list of the biological components inside, that we have in the same platform, all of that. And as I said, that for calculation different indices, we use mathematical forms, and then they put algorithms, and according to algorithms we will get information about ecological status, about eutrophication, about something something unusual in water, and actually we can preventive do action. We have a preventive tool. Very challenge for all of us was that we do it for artificial lake, but artificial lakes which we use for purpose for producing electricity, but these lakes are on the boundary with Hutovo Blato wetlands, which is natural park, and it is under protection of under law of protection. And here people and also companies and all around thinks that the biggest pollutants for all water bodies is company for producing electricity. Yes, it is one stressors, but here are a multiple stressor which impact of nature of water here in view of biodiversity. I think on agriculture, irrigation, on the salinization of invasive species, etc. In now situation in the natural park is changing. Because we have more and more widespread species, cosmopolitan species, but the number of endemic and the specific rare species is decreasing. Reason for that are multiple, but here is meaning that our company for producing electricity is guilty for that. And I think that is the main reason that the company for producing electricity decide to do something like that, decide to do digitalization, just that they have control. They know that they have to pay for protection. They know which obligation they have, but they would like to have more control for which purposes they will pay. And I think that with this project, with digitalization here, all of us have a benefits. Here we have direct users and indirect users. Indirect users indirect users are people, are local communities, are academia, scientists, researchers, and we have actually transparent presentation of data, and in every moment we can call them, can we get some data, and we have every data which are transparent. But Elektroprivreda has a solutions for better environmental management, and Hutovo Blato Natural Park had a tool for better management of the protected area. All of us have a benefit with digitalization here. As I said earlier, the problems here are not in one stressor. The problems are more than one. Problems are multiple, not just in the Hutovo Blato, which has very specific submediterranean wetlands. We have in other water biotopes more and more cosmopolitan and widespread species, but earlier, I can say 5 years ago, we have more rare specific endemic species. What can be reason for that? Maybe climate changes, maybe more anthropogenic impacts, maybe urbanization. I don't know what is the reason, but I know situation on the field according to biological components. Very important here is to say that physical and chemical conditions and the nutrients too give us actually current situations on the field in the water. Just we know what's happening in the water in the moment when we put the ecological probe inside, and we get results and we know what we get. But for longer period, what's happened in the water, we can just get from biological components because they live longer there. Also from other side, now we have more and more species, more and more water bodies which rich in nutrients, especially in the phosphorus and nitrates, and the reason for that we have species which you can see on this picture, but mostly these pictures are from our lakes. Situation in the river for now is better than in lakes, and also we have more and more invasive species. Here I put just macrophytes, but we have a lot of invasive fish species, and I think that they are also a big killer in our stories. Also in the rivers we have eutrophication. We have situation that we have eutrophication with algal and cyanobacterial bloom here. Why I show you about why I record you about this, because for my my experience, it's really important to say that with digitalization here, we get a lot of we get the first thing which we have to have. As you can see, according to these results, according to activities from our agency, we have data. Actually we have data, but we don't have uniform databases on the country level. And when you don't have databases, and when you don't have systematically in the research, then it's too much space for manipulations. And that is one of reasons that the company for producing electricity decide to do this. I think that digitalization in water monitoring is more job our agencies than there, but the first step for now they do here. With digitalization here, we get databases. The first. When you have what you have, when you have bases, and when you know what you have in the water, which conditions are in the water, you could detect some source of problems which you have, for example, eutrophication and maybe climate changes and the similar thing. And also also with this we have the basic for involve eDNA in water monitoring. Yes, I know that we are far away from that, but we have to prepare databases that we can do eDNA in water monitoring. And with this also we have a basis for intercalibrations process that we can develop a new index or do modification on indices from European Union according to our conditions in in these waters. I think that with digitalization, for me as a biologist, we get a lot of, but for me, this project, this short project is just introduction and just the first step, which will lead us toward the bigger projects. Now we plan to implement the similar solutions on the other water bodies here, but for that we will apply on some bigger European projects, and there we will have more partners in that. But for now we do it just for six locations. Thank you for your attention.